but don't ever leave it to me to figure out the time zones. So that's my fault. So we get to check in with Bill Cleveland, Bill on the road, our travel guru. Bill Cleveland, welcome back to America at Night.
Why are you calling me at 6 a.m. here, McGraw? Jeez. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what happens when you're like, wait a minute, what time am I doing the show? Who am I? What am I? What's going on?
How do you think I feel? I travel all over the country, and I never know what time it is.
No joke. I went vacationing in Florida for spring break, and I didn't realize till the last day I was there that I was in the same time zone as when I left St. Louis.
Oh, you must have been in the Panhandle. Yeah,
I was in the Panhandle, yeah. I thought I was in Eastern time, and I was like, why am I off all day? Every time I'm an hour early or an hour late. So go figure. All right.
Just an hour.
All right.
How you
Well, Bill Cleveland, where are you in this crazy mixed-up world?
Well, I'm checking in, McGraw, from the great city of Frisco, Texas. You ever been to Frisco, Texas?
Where is Frisco, Texas? I've never been there.
Yeah, so it's just north of Dallas. I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so. In fact, actually, so you know the Dallas Cowboys. My first night in town, I went to a Dallas Cowboys tree lighting ceremony. They got like this huge, like the Dallas Cowboys headquarters, I guess, is in Frisco. So they have this like huge outdoor deal. And this time of the year, you got the big Christmas tree, and the cheerleaders were there, and I think everybody in town was there. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I came here for one specific reason and found a handful of really cool things. The reason I came was because Frisco, Texas is home to the National Video Game Museum.
Are you a gamer?
I'm not, but I really enjoy when people have unique collections or interesting, quirky museums. You can only imagine how many hundreds of museums I have seen since the time I started this Bill on the Road thing. But this thing is pretty neat. It opened in 2016, and three friends who all collected video game stuff. I mean, you know, everything from controllers and cartridges and display boxes and game machines and literature. I mean, anything you can think of video game-wise. These guys collected it and ended up starting a museum, and now they get like 120,000 people a year that come to see this thing. And I guess they would take some of their stuff to various, video game conventions and things like that, and set up a display, and eventually got this museum. But you go in, and it's all hands-on, which is really neat. So they have, I mean, everything from Pong. Remember Pong? You can play Pong. You've got
that was the very first one, right? Pong. It had 7,000 versions of Pong.
Yeah, I mean, so it was really cool to see that, and then they have all the different. You kind of walk around their museum, and you see how video games have transformed and grown over the years. Now, my thing when I was a kid, we used to play the Oregon Trail. Did you ever play the Oregon Trail on the old Apple computer?
Never played the Oregon Trail.
Oh, okay. All right. So kids were born in the 80s played the Oregon Trail. You did it at school. Like my grandma had the Apple, I think it was Apple II something computer, and it had a floppy disk you'd put in, and the screen would turn green, and so you'd play the Oregon Trail. So, oh my God, I sat there for 30 minutes just playing the Oregon Trail. It was like back to my childhood, and it was great fun. And so all my family members that I used in the game, they all died of cholera. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, it was really cool. And then you go around, and they give you tokens. So at the end of your time, you can go and play actual old school video games. A few different versions of Pac-Man, and they had Mortal Kombat and all these things that you would remember, especially if you were a millennial,
right.
Or you had kids that were in that age group. To see all of these things all again. But it's a history museum too, so it was really neat to see kind of how video games started, and the packaging was really neat to see. Just you knew what decade you were in when you were looking at the different fonts and things like that as you worked your way around the museum. So
well,
I'm
a
big fan of quirky museums.
I'm sure it's a walk down memory lane when you've got an Atari and you got, I guess it'd be Space Invaders on Atari, or Dig Dug I played a lot on Atari.
And Frogger, do you remember
Yeah,
Frogger?
Frogger was a big one. Yeah, yeah. But Atari, right? It was Pong, but then it was Atari, and then Nintendo came in, and then it was the battle between Atari and Nintendo, and then at one point somebody invented some type of device where you could play Nintendo cartridges in Atari or Atari cartridges in Nintendo, and then I sort of lost interest or started getting into girls and forgot about video games.
Yeah, I think the last video game set that I had was a Nintendo Wii. Remember the thing you do the bowling and you do all of that, and but yeah, that was the last. But it's a really cool museum. Highly suggested if you're in the Dallas area. It's about maybe 30 minutes or so north of Dallas. And then they're also home to the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Now, I did not play soccer. I do not know anything about soccer. But it's a really cool place, even though I'm not a huge soccer fan. And shout out to Nancy who worked there. She took me around the facility and basically had to sadly explain the game of soccer to me. I don't know. But they have all these artifacts, and it's soccer, U.S. soccer. So, you're from St. Louis, so they had some stuff on the St. Louis soccer team, and of course the one in Dallas, and all the Kansas City, and all these places. And it's right next to the stadium for the Dallas Soccer Club. But a lot of interactive displays. You can try to kick the ball virtually. And there's one where they put these big VR headsets on you, and you're trying to block a goal. You're a goaltender, and you're blocking the ball from coming in the net. It was really, really neat, even though I'm not a soccer fan.
So let me get this straight. You got Cooperstown, New York, the Baseball Hall of Fame. Canton, Ohio is the Football Hall of Fame. And Frisco, Texas is the Soccer Hall of Fame?
The National Soccer Hall of Fame, which apparently was in, if I'm not mistaken, it was somewhere in New York, and then it went out of business or went dormant for a few years or whatever. And then when they were building, I guess I may have this mixed up just a little bit, but when they were building this new stadium for the Dallas Soccer Club in Frisco, somebody said, "Hey, let's move the museum here." And so they built it into the stadium. You literally, on the backside of the museum, you're looking into their soccer stadium. So it's great. It's really first class, and the people there were really, really nice.
Okay, now, so that's the Soccer Hall of Fame. Did you go to the Bowling Hall of Fame? That's down in Arlington, Texas, I believe, is it not?
You were like the third person today that's asked me if I went to the Bowling Hall of Fame. Let me tell you, the Bowling Hall of Fame used to be 5 minutes from my house, and for 20 years, and I never went to the Bowling Hall of Fame. So the answer is no. I did not make it to the Bowling Hall.
Actually, the Bowling Hall of Fame, when it was up in St. Louis, was really cool. It had an old-style bowling lane where they had somebody manually set the pins in the back. So it wasn't machine generated. It was human generated, and they had you had to manually put the pins back into the cage, and then they would set them, and it was actually kind of a neat little deal. But then it moved down to Texas. Now, before we get to the bonus section of Bill on the Road, you're in Dallas, right? Have you visited? You must have gone to Dealey Plaza, where President Kennedy was shot at some point in your life.
Yeah. Yes, I have been to Dallas maybe 4 or 5 times, and the very first time I came to Dallas, it's called the Sixth Floor Museum. It's on Dealey Plaza, and it's actually a really great museum. They lay out the entire JFK assassination. They tell you all the stories, and you kind of are left to decide whatever you want to decide with what you think really happened. But it is pretty spooky to be up on the 6th floor and look out through the window. And they have it set up just the way it was when it was the old school book depository, and you look out on that road and you see, it's pretty wild.
I've been there twice, and you're right. I mean, you can look out the window. They say that he shot Kennedy from, and you hear these stories about, he had to be a brilliant shot, and you look out the window and you're like, you don't have to be a good shot. It's I mean, he's like a sitting duck, right? I mean, it's right there. And people drive down that road every day. I don't know how they do that without thinking about that. You're driving past history every single day. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird too. There are people who I love a good photo op, but there are people who will go down on that street and so there's two X's on the ground. The city doesn't do it, but people will go out there and just draw X's on the ground where the gunshots went, and people will pose for photos out there. I'm like, okay, that's a little tacky, and I'm the king of tacky. So like, if I say it's too tacky, I just don't. I don't know. That's not really my thing.
I agree with you. It is right. It's a place where a president got shot. How about a little decorum?
Yeah.
How about a little respect? It is the site of a murder, and no, you're right. But plus they have the gift shop there as well. So how much decorum can you get with a gift shop there as well? Bill Cleveland, hold that thought. We got to take a break. Bill on the road. Every Thursday we check in with Bill somewhere in the United States, and he gives us a overview of where he is and what he's doing. He was in, as he said, Frisco, Texas, and he went to go see the video game museum, the Soccer Hall of Fame. And while he was there, he stumbled across another collection of something famous. We'll get into that here in a second. That's Bill Cleveland. Bill on the road. I'm McGraw Milhaven. This is America at Night. Back in a moment.